Rock. Welcome to the week of DJ's live streaming. We are coming to you from Chicago and Honolulu, Hawaii. And today we are going to talk about several things, but I actually wanted to kick it off with a little bit of the big news because they get this brand new DJ controller out from Denon, which has moving platters, something that they've tried with some of their like CD players before, but now there's a brand new piece out. And thought we'd cover that a little bit today, plus some more technology. So, Doc, what do you got in store for us today, my friend?
Just wanted to sort of reiterate some of the fire that's happening over on Clubhouse. Like, bruh, like it's been absolutely crazy, and everybody should definitely be working towards getting yourself on. Like, you cannot imagine the heat that goes on down there.
You're digging it, obviously.
Oh yeah, well, because
I'm in there. You guys can find me Hot Mix 5, just Hot Mix 5 on.
I'm Doc Rock as normal on just about everything. Perfect. I'm Doc Rock. But yeah, it's just one of these things where there's such fire content there, and yet I'm sure there's people out there that will like poo-poo it because there is definitely some hot mess popping on there. But yo, I just ignore the hot mess and just go in for the good stuff. And man, just absolutely incredible conversations and catching up with good people. And then I got a pick of the week for some of you cats I want to show you. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, go ahead. What's going on with your controller here? CES. I have been hawking CES for a minute though.
Well, CES is going on and, everything's virtual, but there's been a lot of play the last week. First of all, leading up to this controller coming out, it was like, oh, does it really exist? And yeah, it really exists. But, now that I'm looking at it and, I thought we'd talk about it a little bit because they're basically trying to bring back the 1200 turntable in a controller model, which is, it's kind of cool. Price tag goes along with it, but it's kind of a different perspective because I think a lot of us has seen the controllers becoming more of a self-contained unit where the computer is built into it. You don't need to add your laptop,
like the Prime 4 or the Prime 2.
Yeah, and now this is a moving platter instead. So I was kind of looking to see if would they have the capabilities that you don't need to hook the laptop up to it. But as I look at the photos here of everything, it looks like it's more or less just a controller, but you have the moving platters. So I guess the next step, the next evolution, even though this just came out, would be to have the moving platters and have the computer technology because you're looking at a piece that they're saying is a $2,000 controller, but it's only a 2-channel piece. So it's not like you could hook a couple of other units up to it, and have 4 lines. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm out doing shows, I need more than 2 lines. I can't just do 2 inputs and work an event because I've got more than that going on. And I think for a lot of the guys that are going to be able to buy this piece and can afford it, I mean, are they trying to make this into a battle type piece, but are you going to walk in and drop down two platters that move like that? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure who this is designed for. It's for the guy that likes the feel of a 1200, but yet he's not really, using it as a controller, or is he using it as a turntable? To me, I put the turntables in. I mean, if you want to be a turntable, let's go with the turntables versus the controller. That's just my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but as you're watching, we'd love to take your comments on this and your thoughts. But again, for me, I've got to have more than 2 inputs. I'm not saying they don't have more than 2 inputs, but I want 4 faders on the board. I want 4 channels because I'm running more than just 2 things when I'm working.
I think what will happen is they will grow it. If this catches and people like it, they will grow it. So, me, I'll say early adopt. If it's dope, early adopt right away. And then, be prepared to sell it and get the next one when it comes out after the fact. So I do believe that's the case. And, it's kind of funny. Everyone is still, and I totally get why, everyone's still trying to hold on to the turntable as it was. But it's almost in the same ilk as still holding on to the horse and buggy. Like,
the company that made the best buggy whip. Wow.
It was perfect at the time. Buggy whip. It did what it did. But we are about to move into self-driving cars. And if controllers are the turntableless equivalent to self-driving cars. I have seen some pretty incredible mixes and things like that done by people who have learned their controllers inside out, upside down, backwards, and sideways. I think the no-touch controllers, where it's just all hand gestures, is fire. I happened to see this weird thing way back in the day, and this is a little bit off the topic, but a guy basically put MIDI triggers all into a shirt. And then so he was doing this dance and then playing the beat off of his body at the same time. And it was fire. Cool. And all it was tap pads, but he triggered them up to sections of his body. So you remember Bob used to do the dome where he, hit the beats and be happy kind of thing? He did that. He had it in his hands. He had it in his wrist. And it was crazy. So even when he's stomping his feet, like it was going. So, and I say that because if you've ever seen tap dogs or stomp, you've seen that you could create some pretty incredible stuff. I mean, just my friends in school with this and the lunch table, bruh, we made whole tracks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
out, no doubt.
Like, people get tied up in the tools and they're freaking tools, bruh. What's dope is the carpenter behind the tools. So this is fire. And yes, it will be absolutely fire if they do decide this sticks. And then they go 4 channels, 8 channels, 16. As a matter of fact, what's probably going to come is they'll be virtual and assignable. So it might even be you can pull 4 channels out of the controller exists right now, because that is something that software can do without physicality. The old way
you can do that. I mean, it's got the inputs obviously, but it's only got the 2 faders. So, you'd have to make a line change in order to get the additional lines. So it's not like
so I'm thinking that with the way Prime works and stuff like that, is definitely something that they can do software. Man, would you come on? There we go. It's definitely something they could probably do software wise to allow you to go, as many virtual tracks like Ableton. Ableton don't technically have a limit if you know how to fly. We used to pull out 24-track mixes on a 4-track Tascam because we would fly them back to 2 and start again. So that's because we were ghetto and we couldn't afford a good one.
I think the coolest thing is how much our sport, our livelihood here, it's kind of a sport for us that are competitive at it.
That's so true.
Our industry has changed so much over the last 20 years. Like, this is 2021. I mean, the start of 2021. If we look back at 2000, we were still on, CD players.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's hard to believe.
Dude,
so
even the switch from turntables to CDs was like...
From turntables to CD players was a big deal. And it took a long time to get that and get it right. And by the time we kind of perfected that, and Denon was the one that did that. And then Denon bailed on the DJ industry for a long time. But, when they had the 2000, that was a great CD player, man. It was awesome. And now to see these, the development, I mean, M Audio was really the first company to come out with the controller. I still have my Torque, and I should bring it down one day and put it on the shelf here. But, it looked like a plastic close and play, like a pretend controller. I mean, it was literally lightweight plastic. And was it the most responsive unit? No, I mean, it wasn't. You could do some cool stuff with it. It was convenient, but it was RCA connectors. It wasn't XLRs. And then we saw Pioneer come in and just really, set the world on fire with everything between that and Serato. And, now here comes, Denon, which I'm glad they're allowing Serato with this. So it is made for Serato versus Rekordbox, which Rekordbox is more of a proprietary item for Pioneer. And
which
I
really
know
funny.
They want to control everything because then they can control how fast changes happen. So I get that. It makes a lot of sense, but you won't even find this on the site. I went to the Denon site.
I was looking for the 6000 Prime and I can't find it. That's what I was doing this whole time. I'm like, how do you not update your site?
Yeah. I know it's unbelievable because that's the first place I went when I wanted to pull this up. I was like, oh, let me go over to the Denon site. So I ended up going over to, one of the retail sites. And of course I find it funny. So, this comes with a price tag. I mean, it's a $1,500 unit. It says it's $19.99. You save $500 already. Like, they just opened the doors on this thing, but you're saving $500, which drives me crazy. It's still a $1,500 controller. And I was in Guitar Center the other day.
Is that you?
And I saw.
Let me see.
a Pioneer unit that was just humongous, and it's over a couple $1,000s. I think it was $2,300, if I'm not mistaken, for this Pioneer unit. So I mean, the prices are going up and up in this equipment. Obviously, they get the new CDJs, and I think those things, what are they, $2,500, $3,000 a piece? Based on pricing. I mean, guys, how many guys are going to go out and spend $8,000-$9,000 just on their flight case that they're carrying in? Two CDJs with the mixer and a flight case at about $8,500 probably. It's a lot of money before you've added the microphones and everything else. I mean, yes, it's professional equipment. We are professionals, but that's a big chunk of change for most guys that are, having a tough time in the entertainment business right now. I don't think you're going to sell a lot of that. So I don't know what your thoughts are. I'd love to see them in the comments, guys. Would you spend $8,500, or, if you had it, you'd gladly do it? I don't know if you've played on the new ones, but it's a lot of money. And, I see them in the clubs.
James.
Me personally, when I go out to shows, I want to play on my gear, because my experience over my lifetime has been too many times when things don't work properly. When we come out and we're expected to do a show, and I'm not saying for a mobile, you're bringing your own gear. You know what works. I get that. But when you walk into a club, or you're doing a festival, one of these outdoor shows or a big indoor show, I want to know that equipment is going to work when I get there. And a lot of times it doesn't. There's problems. There's something that's weird. There's something that's not functioning properly. And it happens more often than not. So I am not comfortable playing on a lot of other people's equipment. Is it convenient? Oh, yeah, it's very convenient. I just walk in there and, plug in and play. But I would rather carry some equipment with me, carry a small controller. I know it works. I know it's been maintained. I know that nothing's been wired funny, or somebody put the left channel in the right channel and the right channel in the left, and now you're out of phase on some of the stuff. Things like that, just little things that make you sound bad when you're in the middle of your show, because people expect a certain level. At least from me, they do. And I'm sure they do from you. If they know you and they've been a fan of yours, they're expecting a certain level of performance and a certain level of quality that I don't feel you're always going to get if you're playing on somebody else's stuff. Now, is that the case in every place? No. There's major clubs. The stuff is fairly well maintained, or they have an extra unit there, whatever they need, in order to make sure that stuff works for you. But this is my experience, and believe me, it happens more than not. I did a show for, I don't want to say where, it was an outdoor show. There were probably 7,000 to 10,000 people there. Now, fortunately, I brought my own board and everything with me, but they had I don't want to say the brand, but it was the brand we're thinking of, that's like a $2,000 mixer. And it had problems. They had to call the place that they rented it from to send another board out. Now, was I affected by it? No. Why? Because I had my own gear there. But the poor person coming on after me was going to be affected by it. So somebody had to drive in a traffic jam and bring another piece of equipment out. They were lucky they could even get to the place, because it was an afternoon show. They were able to get to the place to get somebody to come out there and reach them to make it happen. But this is the type of stuff you come up against, and I've seen it too many times. So I'm a big fan, guys. If you're going out and you're doing these shows, bring your own gear, bring what you need to do the job properly. And, that way, if something happened to your gear, at least they're the backup. So you got a backup plan at that point. You can get by your show. May not be what you want, but, chances are the people won't know the difference. And I don't mean that from a negative standpoint, meaning if you're a professional, you could just swap out quickly and quietly, and nobody knows the difference. Everything is just the way it's supposed to be, because the audience is hearing a great performance and hearing the music that they want. And that's what it's all about. But that's my take on some of this equipment. And I think that, while we have all these changes, I think it's great. I can't imagine what we're going to see in 10 years or 15 years, just like Doc was speaking of, when we were talking about all this new, integrated and virtual technology and things that are out there. It's really cool stuff. But, you got to have something that works. I'm a Serato user. I like Serato. It's pretty rock solid, in my opinion. Been very dependable. I like Ableton. Rock solid. Works great. And, I've used Record Box before. Rekordbox has a lot of cool features and a lot more customizable things. And I think that's what Pioneer was going for when they created the software, because they wanted to have more control and be able to release the new features and the things that worked well that they could incorporate with the hardware. Where Serato is a software company, they are not manufacturing the hardware. I'm sure they're consulting and saying, well, we need this and this would work well. They're doing their research and development, but at the end of the day, they're not the manufacturer of the hardware. That becomes Pioneer or Rain or one of the other companies that you choose to go with. And there's a lot of good ones out there. So that's my take on it. I mean, I'd love to hear your comments, put them in the comments area. Like to hear what you think about this. Would you go out and would you spend $1,500 on this board? Have you guys looked at it? There's some pretty good videos and pretty good reviews out there of the equipment that we're referring to, which is the Rain 1. And, it's definitely the hot piece of equipment that everybody's talking about. But in my opinion, I'd probably just go with turntables if that's the case.
Yeah, but now okay, so here's the situation with that. Right now, turntables are there. You know what I'm saying? So that's one turntable. You know what I mean? I mean, real talk. That's one turntable.
Price?
Huh?
Price? Well, they're like $1,000. How much is a new 1200 now? They're like
$1,500.
They're like $1,000.
Well,
are they 1,500 now?
Maybe because I live in Hawaii. But yeah.
Well,
but possible. I mean, see, here's how I I'm gonna get heated real quick. I can't stand it's 1,500 bones, dude. That's 3 gigs. Okay, let's make it 10 gigs. Say you're $150 guy. That's 10 gigs.
I didn't say it's a bad price. I mean, the one I have a hard time with is the $8,500 price.
If it's going to get the job done, it's actually cheap, right? If it's not going to get the job done, then it's not cheap, right? So first of all, it's hard because like right now you can't go into the stores and play with it for a while and see if you like it or whatever. But most of the retailers have decent, return policies, and if it's going to take some stress out of your situation, then every cent is well worth it. I know, like James has put in the comments, there's no way he'd pay $8,500 for this thing. If I told you right now, James, that having this $8,500 controller was going to get you $85,000.
Oh, wait, this controller is not $8,500.
No, he was talking about the other one that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, CDJs and the Pioneer mixer. I mean, it's about $8,500 for that, and
James,
it's a lot of money.
He's not all there, but he can read. So
yeah.
But if again, it's easy because people will look at these prices and they'll freak out, right? Okay, so here's a prime example. I switched this topic because I bring it up, but I remember when I came back from Japan and I hadn't drove for like a year, and I said, heck with it, I'm finna go buy me a Beamer because I always said I was going to buy one. I didn't spend the money that I normally spend for like a year, so I had extra money. So I go in and, I dropped $42K on the Beamer. What I got rid of was a $26,000 truck that I had almost $80,000 worth of mods in order to make it a super fast, supercharged rims, suspension, like intake, intercooler, like all this other stuff that I added, you had
the full redneck package is what you had.
Yeah, but it wasn't a lifted truck. It was a lower truck. It was a race truck, right? But I bought a $26,000 truck. By the time I was done, it was damn near a $100,000 truck, and it was banging, right? When I went in, I bought the Beamer. It came out of the gate. You paid $42 flat. It came out the gate. It did all of the stuff my truck did. It did it better, and actually got you more box. You calculate that how you do it. The other thing what kind of car you got? Oh, I got a Tacoma that's loaded. Oh, I got a Beamer. Hold on, easier conversation. But the second of all, what I didn't pay for the 3 years that I owned it, I never paid a dime for an oil change. I never paid a dime for any maintenance. So it was a $42,000 investment, period. Done. Like when I got rid of it to get the next one, I didn't spend a cent on that car other than gas. Now I don't really spend much money on gas because I have an electric hybrid version, and I go to the gas station once a month. But it's just funny how people will get twisted over the price, but they don't figure cost. There's a difference, fam. There's pricing and there's cost. Like, what is the long run that this is going to cost you, right? So when you buy a device, okay, you know how like they came out with the bigger all-in-one pieces, like you said, 86 the computer, whole nine, bring this thing, set it down, go.
Yep.
What the other controller is $1,200. but it also requires a computer, and that computer then in turn requires like a really good $300 solid state drive that can handle being beat up, and then that now it requires good Thunderbolt cables and power, a power cord, and then extra extension cord so you can plug it in. Like by the time you add it all up, it costs more than had you bought the one-piece controller. It's just like I told people about buying a whack camera for your stream. You can buy a $400 camera for your stream, but that $400 camera now needs $1,000 worth of lights to get the same look that my $1,000 camera has. You spent more on lights,
I'm a firm believer in buying it right the first time. I know a lot of people, they feel like, I can get by with this. James. I understand that. I can get by. And I can turn around and, I can start with this. It's a starter model. But I really feel like you're better off to only have to pay once. I don't like to pay twice. I mean, if you went in, let's say you bought a house and you got to go in and you got to change everything out of there. Well, you're paying for it the first time, and now you got to pay for all the remodel to it. That's paying the second time.
Yeah, but Scott, that's a limiting belief. I'm going to tell you why. I just bought a $699 Mac Mini, right? It's dope.
Yep.
It works. But what I really wanted was the Pro model, which is going to come out in the summer. And it'll be like $1,500, and it'll come with dual processors and more RAM and more ports and the whole 9 yards. So if I had that mindset, I only want to pay once, I would have not bought the $700 Mac Mini. I would have waited until the $1,400 one comes out in September.
That's the difference of waiting. I'm talking about when the product is actually available to you right now. You can buy it, A, B, or C. With A being the entry level and C being the pro level. I would probably rather buy B or C than buy A because
most definitely save your money.
I'd like to get a Mac Mini.
That's different. That's a different combo.
Does the 8 gig work? Yes, it does. But in this situation, I am going to wait for the 16 gig version. Even though you'll be the first one.
I bought the first one.
I don't need to do that. But you know what? It's a matter of like 30 days to get the one that you want.
But what I'm trying to explain to you, I had it's over 30 days, right? It was 45-day wait. I bought the $700 one. I made $7,000 from it. I returned it and ordered the one that takes time. So while you can sit there and wait, you could just buy the one that works right now and get to freaking work. Knock yourself out. Like I paid for that sucker 20 minutes after I opened the box.
That's what I like to hear.
That's what I'm saying. Like some people are waiting. If I was to buy this $1,400 thing just to find out it sucked, but in the meantime I was able to book a couple of gigs, and then like it's already paid for, and then I be like, you know what, this actually sucks. I can return it, but I already made the money, and then I know now what's missing from my system I have now. I know what I want to get to. I have a place to go. Like this is business, bro. You got to get out of the fear of this is my money. I'm not saying mess up your business dollars, but if you separate your business dollars from your personal dollars, your business will go much further. But 98% of the business owners out there confuse their business dollars with their personal money, and that's how you go broke. That's why most businesses fail, because people can't get out of that. Like going to take a class, going to a seminar, buying proper equipment, those are all business investments. That has nothing to do with you spending your personal money. Funny thing, though, on the personal level, they bought brand new Jordans. They got 8 lids with, say, Chicago Bears on it or Chicago Bulls on it at $55 a piece for a fitted. You got a gold chain worth $9,000 on your mother neck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You bitching about a controller, you wearing a $9,000 gold chain? Come on, son.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or you bitching about $1,500 for a controller, but I saw you put $3,000 worth of white up your nose. Shut up. Yeah, Shut all the way up.
Not my thing. But yeah, I got you. I feel you on that. I mean, I'm really coming at you price-wise on the controller based on what it is. I just feel like there might be some other things out there that are equal or better than this. But again,
we won't know until reviews come out.
This may be what you want. If you wanted to be the turntablist, this might be a little bit better for you than, using a standard controller. If you want the feel of the turntable. I mean, can't we move past that, guys? Can't we move past the sync button? Can't we move past the technology and embrace it and love it? Because I do.
Unfortunately, not. People people will always fight about the wrong stuff. You know what we say? They are what we call majoring in the minor. Like worrying about whether or not you look bad because you had to use a sing button, that is majoring in the minor. If you're keeping the main thing, you're wondering, did you get a deposit? How many gigs you got lined up for the month? Like, are you fitting to be able to pay rent? That's what you should be focusing on, not whether the person that you think you're better than is using sing button, while the person that you half the time, this is funny because I've seen it happen here on my rock, and James can back me up on this. A lot of the DJs complaining about the other DJ that's doing something foul is technically mad because that dude is booking more gigs and making more money, even though he sucks. The guy that sucks, that's making more money, technically doesn't suck. He's making more money because he's giving the people what they want, because they wouldn't keep hiring him if he wasn't giving the people what they want. What you're trying to do is massage your own ego and massage the egos of the friends around you who blow you up and tell you that you're the shit. And it doesn't matter if you're the shit while you broke living in your mama's basement, right? While the other dude that you talking spice about lamped up somewhere, dope crib, whatever, like doing his thing because he gave the people what he wanted and he wasn't worried about what the other DJs think about him. That's what y'all need to stop. Like, I know, there's a dude, I don't want to call his name, but there's a dude that everybody in this town hated on, but the dude was getting paid. And he did technically suck, but businessly, he did not suck. Businessly, he was smoking everybody. And to this day, he's the one that made the most money out of it. Like, I remember that just as a hip hop artist, all the guys that were underground were talking spicy about our group, but we were open for every major act that came to Honolulu. We opened for every major act. There's not a hip hop artist from the 80s that performed in the state of Honolulu that me and my boys weren't there. You know what I mean? We were there, but people were like, "Oh, they're selling out. They're making like candy pop hip hop." Yeah, and we was like, "True that." Why that dude was spicy? We're smashing his girlfriend.
Yeah, here's the deal. You guys, you can be the best DJ in the world. If nobody knows about you, you're not going to succeed. You have got to put the work in and make the effort to go out and meet the right people that can put you in the position to be successful. And what do I mean by that? You if you want to work clubs, then, okay, you can go get a club gig and you could sit there and go, "Oh, I really killed it over there. I was great." And you can hope a promoter is going to come over and say, "Oh yeah, I heard about you," or "Somebody told me about you." And that may very well happen because somebody does win the lottery. But the chances are, if you don't go out and work and pitch to all those promoters, and you don't go to some different bars and try to increase your visibility and the awareness that you are out there and available to play, the chances of you being as successful are probably a lot slimmer. You're going to have to do some work. And what is the work involved? It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You could take a mixtape that you've done, and what I would tell you with your mixtape is that, if you're going to send it to a promoter for a techno night, don't send him a disco tape. Send him a techno tape. Send him something that is geared to what his crowd is, okay? If it's an open format club, I wouldn't just do a house music set. I would try to have everything in there. If it's a hip hop club, I wouldn't send house music to them. So it needs to be kind of tailored. So, put your demo together. That mixtape is your demo. It is your brand that you can present to someone. And you know what? Have your website, have your digital formats of whatever you need. And then, all it is, you could call the guy, you could Facebook him. Probably easier to get him on Facebook or on social media. He's probably going to respond a lot quicker than to a phone call. And all you have to do is say, "Hey, I really like your club. I heard a lot about it. I play over at XYZ Club. Would you mind if I sent you my link? What's the best email address, or what's the best way to get that to you?" And they'll tell you. You send them a link. You've just put yourself in a position to get some more business. And if you do this consistently through other areas, you're probably going to have some success. There's going to be a night when one of their ace DJs can't make it in there. He's going to be tied up, or he's going to have an illness or whatever, and they're going to be in a panic. "I need a guy." "Oh, you know what?
He's going to be high up.
His demo. I heard who this guy is." Yes, yeah. Well, but you're going to put yourself in a position to get hired, okay? Or they want to make a change. Maybe they got a guy that wants more money, not happy with what he's doing, or he did something stupid, and they want to get a replacement, but they don't want to lose the night that they have. This may be a great opportunity for you to get in there. So again, put together your demo, make sure it's on point for what you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to be a wedding DJ, then, if your prospective client is a wedding DJ, I wouldn't send them a techno tape. I would send them something that sounds a little bit more like a wedding reception
What
with
if it's
a variety of music.
Wedding?
Well, and they would tell you that, and you'd be like, okay, I do dope techno weddings. But in the scheme of things, if you get 1,000 brides and grooms that are having a wedding, what percentage are having the dope techno fest at their wedding reception? Probably 1 in 1,000. Okay.
Yeah.
And if they are,
that's the ones that you
exactly
want.
Where to find you. They're not going to be looking for the wedding. They're not going to be going to the normal wedding location to find that wedding DJ. They are going to the hardcore underground techno club in Berlin,
frolicking in the Briar.
Right.
Hey, you know what I gotta say? I gotta tell you Scott. I gotta tell you a funny story about the mixtape world. So in the mixtape world, my boy down here, James, was doing mixtapes, and to get his mixtapes out, James actually rented a sidewalk, blocked out the whole joint, camera equipment, lights. We shot a music video for a track that was on the mixtape in order to promote the mixtape. That was how it was done.
Awesome.
When you was about that life and you was doing it correctly and having parties around the mixtape, that was how it was done. So he could have just made tapes and try to sit in the back and sling them out of the ride like everybody else. But James was like, no, I want this mixtape to bring fire. So we actually blocked off a major street in Honolulu, brought out camera gear. My family and I, we did the video work, and then our other homies did the sound. We had lighting. We made it like a block party, and we shot a music video that accompanied the track. And back then you had to get the music video on tape. There was no YouTube. Oh, watch this on YouTube. There was no watch this online. You had to physically make tapes to watch this music video, but it was pure fire. It was absolutely pure fire. And so that's how you promote.
Was it
if you really
VHS
about
back
that,
then, or had you moved to something a little more contemporary?
Was that?
Was it VHS tape, or was it something a little more contemporary? Were you on a DAC?
We shot it on Sony Digital. It got delivered on VHS, but no, we shot it on high-end Sony cameras. And right, James? You remember? See, right? James's icon is missing because he didn't press the button, but that's all good. Yeah, dude, it was amazing, and it was it was fun, bro. It was absolutely fun. We straight up shot a whole music video to rock a Unity Jams mixtape back in the day. And that was just dope. And again, people don't want to put in that kind of work nowadays because it's easy. You know what I'm saying? If I was trying to hit a promoter, and I wouldn't just send them a mixtape, I would send them a video with a straight conversation. Even if you're trying to reach out to Rain and be like, hey, Rain, I want to talk about this on my show, blah, blah, blah. Don't just send them an email, make them a video, and be like, and show them, because we're all video people at this point. You know what I'm saying?
That is true.
Or don't cold call them, find out where they are, comment on their posts, build some trust, build some interaction. It's not an instant thing. It's just walking up to people going, hey, you want to go home with me? No, that don't work.
But, I will tell you, if it's a promoter, if it's a nightclub, the only way you're going to stand a chance of ever getting that booking is to actually get to somebody there. Okay. It's not going to just appear out of the sky. You're going to have to at least introduce yourself to somebody, and hopefully it's the right person. I mean, if you're meeting the bartender can tell you who the manager is or who the person is that's responsible for hiring the DJ. Maybe there's another promoter. Maybe they have an entertainment director, but at least you can get a name out of somebody so that you can at least make the right contact.
True
and
that.
Again, put some work in if you want to get these types of gigs. They're not just going to fall in your lap. And that goes for the wedding DJs too. If you're just going to, post something on Facebook and you think, oh, great, I'm going to book my calendar solid, it's not going to happen. Will somebody win the lottery? Yeah, probably at some point somebody will in that situation. But the reality of it is you got to do some work if you want to get these gigs. They don't come to you. When I got into radio as a Hot Mix 5 member, there was no Hot Mix 5. There was a radio station that was playing some mixes, and they had just started. Well, as soon as I found out about it, I picked up the phone and I called the radio station. Well, who do you talk to at the radio station? Are you talking to the receptionist that answers the phone? Well, yeah, that's the gatekeeper. So you got to be nice to the gatekeeper and ask the gatekeeper the right questions so that the gatekeeper might be willing to let you in. They'll give you a name, but you're not going to get to that person without getting through that gatekeeper. So, the gatekeeper is the key, and that will open up some doors for you if you get past the gatekeeper. So be nice to the gatekeeper.
That's super funny. People don't ever realize that the gatekeeper controls everything.
That's right. The gatekeeper decides who gets through and who doesn't. So if you want to get through, you might even need to call the gatekeeper a few times and build a relationship with the gatekeeper before you can get through to the person you actually want to get to. But the gatekeeper's the one that can make it happen for you. So
that's super funny.
I thought I'd share that. I thought I'd share that little tip with you guys.
Yeah, I want to show you something real quick. I found this getting some buttons for my Final Cut, but if you happen to be a user of the Stream Deck and Ableton, they have a pretty dope setup where you can get buttons for your Stream Deck that are already set up for Ableton Live. So yeah, it's pretty rad setup. I bought these for my Final Cut play, but then I saw this and it's kind of cool. So I mean, it might be hard to tell from here, but you have the things that you normally have to dig into menus to find. You can actually put them on, and they have two different setups: one for the short Stream Deck and one for the XL. Well, it's just called Stream Deck and Stream Deck.
Can you post the link in there for that? That's very cool.
Yeah.
And by the way, what other programs does that work with? Do they have it for like Adobe Audition, or do
they
have
didn't
it
have
for
Audition
Pro
yet because Audition is not like high on their thing, but they do take requests, so you're able to put in. So right now they got Ableton Live, Affinity Photo. Oh, my bad. Hold up. I should have bought this one.
See, that's very rare.
Good, bro. I missed it. I should have bought this one too.
It's kind of bizarre because as big as Adobe Audition is, and Adobe, they never are like certified for anything. I've got a Universal Audio. I bought the Apollo Twin, and when I was calling around, I wanted to get some more information. And Adobe Audition is not officially supported for the Apollo Twin, but I will tell you, it works great. And even the plugins, if you buy the
it's just Adobe.
Universal Audio plugins, which are the best, by the way, they are awesome. It will work. It works great, but it's not officially supported. Pro Tools is supported, but not Adobe Audition.
Even I'm not in this thing. James said that he's waiting for the 40th reunion so he can meet his 5 of his heroes. And I would tell you.
Oh, man, that's so nice, James. Thank you for that.
I tell you, that's the thing, because Tez and I, my boy Montez Brown and I had this conversation like on Christmas night, like Christmas Eve. We was on the phone for like a couple hours just catching up, laughing, talking smack about James. And then even he said, like, oh, my God, I can't believe that you're on this show every week with Scott. And I'm like, Scott's just Scott. And they're like, no. I was like, yeah, I know, dummy. I'm just clowning you.
I'm Doc Rock's punching bag, people. I'm like, just so you know.
I'm just clowning you. But, yeah, like, they're just gushing. And I'm like, no, seriously. He's seriously one of the nicest guys and, very down to earth. So, if you need to reach out, just reach out. Like, he won't bite you.
See me in my pajamas drinking Miller Lite and eating goldfish crackers.
Hey, you know what, James? I mean, Scott, because I'm about to write a message to James. At least it's not a natty light.
Right. But, I will say, as far as the 40th goes, so July would be I guess we'll do it around July if we do it. It's all going to depend on what opens up here in Chicago. And I'm not
sure.
About
that on YouTube.
a lot of people, no, but a lot of people are thinking, everything will kind of, be back to status quo in July 1st. A lot of the promoters have that date targeted. That's the return for major concerts and things. I'm not sure if that's the case. I'm not sure that we'll be back until hopefully September or October. I would like to see us back by May because I don't want to see us lose the wedding business in May and June. So, it's all up in the air right now. I'm sure the next couple of weeks will tell the tale and we'll go from there and figure it out. But, we'd like to have a 40th. That's a big one. I know Farley had put together a little virtual 39th anniversary this year. So I don't know how many of you guys checked that out. It had some pretty good numbers. I know I did a video from my studio for that, but are you laughing at me or are you laughing
I'm
at the
laughing
comment?
at
What
Paul.
does it say?
Paul says, I'm not even in the DJ biz,
biz,
but I like
but I
listening to
love
Scott and Doc. You're okay.
business sense. Doc, you're okay. Hey, Paul, thank you. Finally, somebody that gives me a little love over here, because usually it's only Doc getting the love, just so you know.
Oh, God. That is awesome.
But yeah.
That is awesome.
But yeah, we're gonna try to pull that 40th off some way. Awesome. There. Oh, you look at you. You got your Roadcaster Pro all wired up and ready to go.
Hold on, my dad's
Kudos, baby. Hey, by the way, I wanted to ask you, because maybe we could share this information too. I understand that there is a software. I think it's about $25 for Ecamm, because I know a lot of you guys are Ecamm people. I think you are anyway, if you're on the Mac, just like Doc and myself. But I understand there's a software program that allows you to kind of do what the Stream Deck does, but with any kind of a MIDI instrument. So if you have a MIDI keyboard or a MIDI controller, you can program up similar to what the Stream Deck does and do it via MIDI. You know about that, Doc? Did you ever see that post? If not, you didn't hear a word I said, did you?
No, because my dad called. I got to go get him. Old people. That's what happens.
Is he okay? Is he okay?
I don't know. I'll find out in a second. Sorry to cut out early, gang, but old people, duty calls. I got to go take care of my pops. But yeah, next Wednesday we'll be back. Man, that just kind of messed me up.
Okay, yeah. Seriously, you got to go?
I got to go. Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll see you next Wednesday. All right. Have a great week. Be safe.
At some point in time, we'll have to get off the stream because it's us. We'll be the old people. But for now, we're good. We'll see you next week. I appreciate every single one of you guys. And yeah, I was going to say, I'm glad that they picked the date of July. Even though it might not happen, it's better to be in the frame that it's going to than to keep thinking it's never coming back, because it just starts to mess with your brain. So yeah, sorry about this, gang. We'll see you next week on The Real, and love you guys.
All right, hope everything's okay on your end, Doc, and peace out to everybody. Have a great week. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye, everybody.
Aloha.